number 10. Sharon Osborne. Talk show host Sharon Osborne found herself in some hot water earlier this year after making some comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Sharon faced a lot of backlash and crossed a line by making the harsh comments that she did about the royal couple, specifically about Meghan. This all went down on The View as Sharon Osborne and Cheryl Underwood got into a heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's remarks about Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Piers' comments about Meghan Markle's mental health and about the fact that she didn't believe what Meghan said about her mental health, and this frustrated Cheryl because she didn't like the comments that were being made about those involved. This very heated debate then got even bigger as this prompted an internal investigation after it was alleged that Sharon had been making disrespectful comments about her fellow hosts as well. This really blew up in her face as she lost her career and reputation and was promptly cancelled online. Because of this, we might not hear much from Sharon in 2022. At number 6, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil was exposed and cancelled earlier this year following rapper Bad Baby's YouTube video where she spoke out about the treatment she experienced from a youth reform camp that she was sent to after her time on Dr. Phil's show. The rapper, whose real name is Danielle Bergoli, posted a video to her YouTube channel courageously opening up about what she experienced, detailing how staff at the camp called Turnabout Ranch treated her and other kids. In the video, she shared some of the horrors she faced, like how she was taken from her home in the middle of the night, handcuffed, and wasn't allowed to sleep or shower for 3 days. She also said that staff used restraints on people and that some people claimed to have been assaulted while there. Danielle exposed Dr. Phil because he was the one who recommended this camp and has been doing so for such a long time. People were furious with Dr. Phil because he condoned such a horrific place, and he was cancelled for it. When the public found out about Dr. Phil, he lost a lot of credibility, and since then, more people have come forward to speak out about their experiences with the TV personality. This may only be the beginning, but if we know anything about cancel culture, it's that no one is safe and they could easily lose it all. At number 9, J.K. Rowling. Last year, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling came under serious fire over a number of things such as allegations of transphobia after she sent out a series of tweets that were seen as highly offensive to the trans community. JK spoke out on social media about her opinions and views on trans people, specifically trans women, and because of the comments she made, she faced massive backlash. Her words impacted a lot of people from the trans community, and they also had an effect on her business relationships as those who have ties with her Harry Potter franchise were brought into this mess. Since her drama last year, the author has continued to lay into this, going along with the hate she's received. She was cancelled last year, but that veil still hasn't been lifted because no one is forgiving her. As a result of this continuing drama, her business has suffered and her HBO plans remain on the rocks, and her book sales have declined in recent months. JK cancelled herself, but she just keeps digging herself deeper and deeper, and she's losing fame and might lose it all in the coming year. At number 8, Ellen DeGeneres. Last year, Ellen faced a lot of drama, backlash, and cancellations, and it completely tanked her career. It started with allegations of a toxic work environment and snowballed into her facing scrutiny for her comments on the lockdown experience, the Black Lives Matter movement, and even had people digging up old interviews to show how toxic she's been. With all that backlash she's been facing over the last year, her career has taken some serious damage. According to some sources, her show has seen a huge drop in ratings following her cancellation, and a number of advertisers had pulled their support from the show as well. Ellen announced the end of her show at the end of her 19th season. When news broke of her show ending after nearly 2 decades, Ellen said that this was a personal decision to end the show, saying she's looking for a new challenge, but I'm sure that her recent negative attention also played a big part in this decision. Because of this, she might not be very famous next year, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Before we carry on talking about some of the celebrities who might not be thriving next year, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, why not smash that subscribe button to see more videos like this one. At number 7, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had a lot to say about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah that became one of the biggest bombshells of this year. During the interview, secrets were revealed, confessions were given, and a lot of people had a lot to discuss. One of the things that was picked apart a lot by people were Meghan Markle's comments on her mental health before they split from the royal family. Meghan said that she was really depressed and had thoughts of taking her own life. Piers Morgan decided to pick apart her comments on her mental health and said that in his opinion he, quote, didn't believe a word that Meghan said, end quote. He criticized Meghan's mental health, and a lot of people saw that as going too far. As a result, Piers and the network he worked for faced mass scrutiny for saying such a thing about someone's mental health, as it was seen as diminishing and deflecting of the severity of such a thought as taking your own life. Because of the backlash he faced, Piers announced that he would be leaving the network, but that he still doesn't believe Meghan's claims, saying, quote, "Freedom of speech is a hill I am happy to die on," end quote. Because of the backlash he faced this year, Piers might not be famous in 2022. At number 5, James Charles. Beauty YouTuber James Charles is no stranger to getting cancelled for having been caught having inappropriate relationships with a few of his fans under the age of 18. James has faced backlash for this sort of thing many times in the past, but yet he still gets caught. This year, James was hit with backlash after it was discovered that he had solicited private photos from a fan who turned out to be under 18. James was exposed by said fan on social media, where he showed off their messages and photos sent to each other over the period of time that they had been talking. This happened late in February, but a similar event happened just a few weeks prior to this incident after a young man came forward exposing James and recounting how he and James had been having explicit conversations on Snapchat. The fact that James keeps crossing this line and keeps getting caught says a lot about him, and people are starting to catch on to this as a result. James not only lost his collaboration with Morphe, but he also lost out on a web series hosting job, and his channel was demonetized by YouTube. He's losing more and more fans as he gets caught in these scandals, so perhaps 2022 might be the year when he loses it all. At number 4, David Dobrik. For a lot of aspiring YouTube creators, David Dobrik was one person that a lot of people looked up to. He had a lot of success on the platform, but after his massive scandal earlier this year, a lot of people stopped supporting the YouTuber after learning of the allegations against him. David lost a lot of followers and faced a lot of backlash from the public after people started coming forward with allegations of bullying against David, as well as his Vlog Squad friends. Former members of David's YouTube friend group also came forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend experiencing trauma, and on top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as a person who was inappropriate with them while they were under the influence, and also exposed David for filming part of the alleged incident. Though he seems to be doing okay now that this scandal has blown over, we all know how unpredictable YouTube and the internet can be, and it just takes one more cancellation to really end someone, so in 2022 we might have to watch out for that. At number 3, Chris Noth. In one of the more recent Hollywood scandals to come out this year, Sex and the City actor Chris Noth has been faced with allegations of inappropriate contact, and he's starting to lose a lot. This scandal is still developing because it's so recent, but so far other former Sex and the City co-stars have come forward to support the alleged victims. As for his career, he's been fired from his role on the CBS show The Equalizer effective immediately. As he goes into the new year with the scandal and the fact that he's been fired, chances are he probably won't be all that famous in 2022. At number 2, Meghan Markle. As I mentioned earlier, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry made headlines this year after their interview with Oprah back in January. People became super obsessed with the couple, both in positive and negative ways. Since then, they've been in and out of the news, and a lot of people have wondered if Meghan will make her return to acting after leaving the royal family. So far, she's done a little bit of work in Hollywood, having narrated a documentary about elephants that's on Disney+, but people are wondering if we will see more from Meghan in the new year. Well, the answer is maybe, maybe not. Things are still a little shaky with the actress because of all the drama surrounding her and everything with the royal family, and she and Harry are also focused on raising their young family, so perhaps Meghan will continue to lay low for a little while longer. She might not be very famous in 2022, but maybe in the future we will see her return to Hollywood. And finally, at number 1, Amber Heard. Amber Heard seems to be laying pretty low these days following all of that drama with Johnny Depp last year, but that doesn't mean people have forgotten why they hate her. Amber and Johnny were the biggest story of last year, and after learning so much about the horrible things that Amber did, she's lost a lot of fans, and people have hated her ever since. We learned that she had gotten into a fight with her sister, she's been recorded confessing to hitting Johnny Depp, she's pretended to be the victim of a violent crime, she smuggled her dogs to Australia, pretended to not have known about the laws there, and tried to get her assistant to commit perjury, she's responsible for Johnny's severed finger, and she supposedly planted stories in the media to deliberately shift the focus from Johnny to her. Because of all these things that have come out about the actress, there are so many people from around the world who really just hate her, and there have even been petitions to have her removed from certain movies, as she's lost a lot of respect from fans and some Hollywood people as well. So because of her bad reputation and the fact that she hasn't really been able to come back from all that drama last year, she might not be too favorable in 2022. At number 10, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the Armie Hammer scandal by now. This actor had to be included on this list because it was the first big scandal that really blew up this year year, and it really destroyed the actor's career. Back in January, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages, leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie, exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, among other adult things, and this created a snowball effect that led to people coming forward with their own allegations of misconduct against the actor. Things took a very serious turn, and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of the scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career, and he lost a lot as a result. We know that no one is quick to forget a scandal like this in Hollywood, and so as a result of this huge scandal and the allegations against him, Armie started losing everything he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, but one thing's for sure, he won't be famous next year. At number 9, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened this year that absolutely obliterated someone's career came from singer Marilyn Manson. This scandal shocked a lot of people because of how serious it was and how many people it affected. It all started when Marilyn's ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post to name Manson as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her, and told her fans about how Manson caused her so much mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson as well. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped by his music label, and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. It was alleged that his label covered up a lot of what Manson had been doing to other people, and that only made him look worse. Since this scandal broke, Manson has hit rock bottom in his career and social status because of how alarming this scandal was. So I don't think that the singer is going to be famous for the next little while. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities going into next year with a little less fame, why not take a brief moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Chris Harrison. With every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, there's at least one scandal. But earlier this year, things were a little different because a pretty serious scandal broke and it led to someone losing their job. The show's longtime host Chris Harrison landed himself into some hot water this year after he started facing backlash for the comments he made about one of the contestants' past. At the beginning of The Bachelor season earlier this year, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants was leaked showing her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum themed party, and many fans saw this as highly offensive and racist. When this scandal first broke, a conversation was obviously sparked, but when asked about his take on the situation, Chris ended up offending some people as he responded saying that it was in the past. In an interview on Extra with former Bachelor/Bachelorette contestant Rachel Lindsay, when asked about this contestant's controversial photos, Chris was seemingly dismissive of her actions of her being at this party, and he continued to try and defend his stance, saying that he didn't want to make any comments before the contestant in question had spoken out first. Instead of helping the situation, fans of the show saw this as perpetuating racism, and so he was cancelled. As a result of this drama, Chris was let go from the show and hasn't really been seen much in the media since, prompting some to believe that he won't be famous anymore. At number 7, Chrissy Teigen. For Chrissy Teigen, the internet has not been the greatest place to be, for her at least, after she got cancelled for bullying Courtney Stodden when they were younger. Chrissy had some old tweets and DMs leaked which showed some very offensive messages to Courtney from back when they were still a teenager. Courtney rose to fame after they married Doug Hutchison when they were still very young, and this sparked international attention and also seemingly saw Chrissy turn into a very mean person as she allegedly sent a number of hateful messages to Courtney. Courtney spoke out about how they received such hateful messages from Chrissy, where they said that the hateful messages and harassment they received from her back then came during a very hard time in their life and really didn't help them navigate the pain they were feeling at the time. Chrissy has since apologized to Courtney for her actions, but after seeing many of the messages and tweets, a lot of fans aren't quick to forget what Chrissy has done. Chrissy has even started losing work because of this, because it exposed the hateful side of her, so maybe she might lose some fame next year as part of the lingering effects of this scandal. At number 6, DaBaby. Rapper DaBaby was yet another celebrity to be cancelled this year, and it was not pretty. The rapper's controversy came after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made a series of offensive comments about the gay community, as well as perpetuating some of the stereotypes around HIV and AIDS. While on stage, the rapper made some comments about the illness, calling it a quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, end quote. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Many people clapped back at the rapper rapper-like celebrities including Dua Lipa and Elton John, who condemned the rapper's comments and tried to educate the public on the misinformation that DaBaby spread, how it was wrong, and tried to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of this scandal, the rapper got into a lot of trouble with fans and was knocked down a pedestal or two, so maybe in the new year, you might see the rapper try to grasp onto what's left of his fame after this scandal. At number 5, James Corden. This year, the people turned on James Corden. James was trending a lot on Twitter this year, and not for the best reasons either. The amount of times I saw James Corden trending for people just talking about how much they hate him says a lot about what people in Hollywood think of him. The actor and late night host got into a few scandals this year, so following all of that, 2022 is probably going to be a rough year for James and his career. So far this year, James has faced backlash for his Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts segment because he was exposed for using traditional Asian foods as part of the gross foods for the bit, and on top of that, he faced a lot of scrutiny for his Golden Globes nomination for his role in the movie Prom, where he played a gay character because people thought that he used too many gay stereotypes in his portrayal of the role. Furthermore, a number of people who've worked with him or have had encounters with the host have also made a lot of negative comments about him, making him look like a pretty bad guy. To make matters worse for James and his career, some fans have literally started making petitions to keep James out of certain big Hollywood productions. People are really starting to dislike James, so like I said, 2022 might be a struggle for the late night host. At number 4, Gina Carano. Let's talk about another celebrity who faced a lot of backlash this year. Actress Gina Carano, known for her role on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, was exposed and cancelled for her old Twitter posts. Earlier this year, Gina began to face massive backlash for her social media posts that exposed her ideals and opinions that many people took offense to. Though there were a few posts that garnered a lot of negative attention, such as her comments on putting your pronouns in your social media bio, the one that seemingly was the last straw for her career was a post that compared being a Republican to being a victim of the horrors of World War II, saying that Republicans are being persecuted because of their political beliefs. A lot of people took offense to this and led to more backlash and to her getting exposed for her unpopular opinions. Other posts that caused Gina to face scrutiny include her tweets about voter fraud in the US, as well as posts mocking people who wear masks amidst the pandemic. Because of this scandal and all of the negative press Gina was getting, she was promptly fired from The Mandalorian and hasn't really been seen much since. Because of the nature of this scandal and the offensive things that were said, Gina might struggle to keep her fame in the coming year, because as we all know by now, Hollywood does not forget. At number 3, Jamie Lynn Spears. Another person who might not be famous in the new year is none other than Britney Spears' sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn got caught up in the scandal that was her sister's conservator case, and it didn't end well for her. There was a lot of family drama involved, as you can imagine, but instead of laying low and riding out the storm, so to speak, she jumped into the spotlight, and doing that attracted a lot of hate towards her. Many of Britney's fans criticized Jamie Lynn for not standing up for her sister and watching her suffer through the conservatorship for so long. Things took such a nasty turn for Jamie that it damaged her relationship with Britney and has caused her to attract a lot of hate and scrutiny. Because this Britney drama is still pretty fresh in people's minds, Jamie Lynn might not be too famous in the coming year, and she might still be cancelled by a lot of her sister's fans. At number 2, Jesy Nelson. On October 8th of this year, former Little Mix member Jesy Nelson released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj. After the video dropped, the singer was promptly cancelled and backlash ensued as viewers immediately started commenting on Jessy's appearance in the video and speculating on whether or not Jesy was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for the content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. In the Boys video, fans pointed out that Jesy was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics in the video, most notably a darker tan. But with this blackfishing controversy came more drama as people started looking into Jessy's past with Little Mix. Soon drama started to unfold with the group as one of the girl group's members came forward to say that she had actually warned Jesy about blackfishing and how it's wrong, but Jesy still did it anyway, and even went so far as to claim that no one had ever commented on it until this video came out. Things got messy and some fans started second guessing their support for Jesy, so maybe in the new year we won't see much from the former girl group member. And finally, at number 1, Travis Scott. Travis faced a lot of backlash in the last few weeks after the tragedy that occurred at his Astroworld concert. The rapper's performance ended in tragedy as the chaos that ensued during the concert left multiple people dead and hundreds injured. 10 people lost their lives due to the events that unfolded, and many others are still recovering from their injuries, as well as the families of those affected still trying to cope with everything that happened with their loved ones. There's a lot of footage circling the internet showing what happened that night and the madness that occurred during the performance, with people showing overcoming the crowds of people and even some fans yelling "stop the show." After the incident, we found out that the Houston police chief actually warned Travis about crowd control prior to the event, expressing his concerns for public safety. After people found this out, Travis started facing even more backlash as fans said that if the rapper really listened to this warning, these casualties could have been avoided. Travis has spoken out several times on the matter, but each time he makes a statement, it seems to make the whole situation worse for him, which certainly isn't helping his career or his fame. Because of the severity of this scandal, Travis might not be very famous in 2022. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to leave a comment down below telling me which other celebrities you think won't be famous next year, and which celebrities you think will be really successful in 2022. Leave me your thoughts down below.
Number 10. Misha Barton. In the early 2000s, she was one of the hottest stars on the Hollywood scene. Thanks to the success of the Fox teen drama The OC, the young actress was instantly thrust into the spotlight when she was just 17 years old. But after leaving the hit show in 2006, Misha became a tabloid target and struggled to recapture her previous level of acting success. It really all happened after she was involved in several unfortunate incidents in 2007, including a hospitalization and a DUI arrest. Over the next few years, the paparazzi continued to hound her as she gained unwanted attention for things like a trip to the psych ward, a failed TV comeback, and even her fluctuating weight. She really tried to turn it around in 2019 by joining the cast of The Hills, New Beginnings, with most of the cast from the original reality series, including Heidi Montag, Spencer Pratt, Brody Jenner, and Audrina Patridge. But unfortunately, Misha was not invited back for season 2 because, according to Brody, the actress didn't fit in with the rest of the cast. He said, "Bringing Misha on to begin with was sort of awkward. It's a little bit upsetting because she has been planning a career comeback for more than a decade now, but she just hasn't been able to crack it." Number 9. Zooey Deschanel. Best known for 500 Days of Summer as well as the hit Fox series New Girl, Zooey was a huge star during the high points of her career. But after New Girl came to an end in 2018, her acting career has slowed down considerably. In fact, she's been largely absent from our screens over the past couple of years and doesn't seem to have any major roles lined up. So what happened? Well, as we know, from 2011 to 2018, Zooey played Jess, a sweet, quirky teacher who moves in with 3 strangers in Los Angeles after a terrible breakup. And although the role landed her an Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, it also pigeonholed her as a performer and made her harder to cast in roles that differed too drastically from Jess. So between New Girl and 500 Days of Summer, the fact is that many of Zooey's characters fit the definition of the manic pixie dream girl, which is a term describing those quirky female characters with a Disney princess mindset who only exist to give the male lead a new lease on life. So when people started criticizing that character trope in Hollywood, Zooey received a lot of backlash for almost exclusively taking those roles. And now that it's not as popular as it used to be, studio heads are way more hesitant to cast her. Number 8. Austin Mahone. Once considered the next big thing in the 2010s, Austin Mahone was set to follow in Justin Bieber's footsteps and become a teen idol himself. But after years of hype, his music career never really took off. The singer started out by posting various covers of pop songs on YouTube in 2010, including Justin Bieber's Mistletoe, which catapulted his rise to fame. But right away, Austin made it clear that he did not appreciate the comparison, saying, "They see a young kid who sings and dances, they're like, oh, another Justin Bieber. Like, you don't even know, you don't know me, you don't know my music, you're just making assumptions." But fast forward to 2022 and Austin Mahone is nowhere to be seen in the music industry. So what gives? Well, in short, he had a falling out with his label due to poor sales of his album and had to restart his career somewhere else as an independent musician, which didn't really work out well either. In 2020, Austin made a questionable career move when he made an OnlyFans and reportedly auctioned a 10-minute video of him during alone time, which sold for $9,000. Hey, you never know, maybe he got desperate. But all in all, it's likely that the world just didn't feel like they needed another Justin Bieber. Number 7. Macklemore. When he stepped into the music scene 10 years ago, he was seen as unstoppable. Alongside his longtime producing partner Ryan Lewis, Macklemore captured the entire world's attention with his debut studio album The Heist. With record-breaking hits like Thrift Shop, Same Love, and Can't Hold Us, he firmly firmly established himself as a socially conscious rapper and achieved big-time stardom. But in recent years, the hype around him has really fizzled out. This is in part due to Ryan Lewis's departure, because he was a critical part of Macklemore's early success. In 2017, the duo announced that they were splitting up and needed creative space from each other. Although there were no hard feelings, it's pretty obvious that Ryan's exit really impacted the quality of Macklemore's work, and there was definitely a shift in how his music was perceived by the public. But there were also some enormous changes that took place in Macklemore's personal life, because he's now a father of 3. Not only that, but he's more focused now on his charity work and community activism. So while many people seem to think that he's fallen off the face of the earth entirely, he's actually just turning his focus onto other endeavors. Number 6, Mike Myers. His name is synonymous with the hilarious and charismatic character Austin Powers. However, the actor is reportedly very difficult to work with in real life, which meant that he eventually found it quite difficult to keep starring in major films. There have been numerous reports suggesting that Myers is a nightmare on set, with some even claiming him to be a control freak and just outright grumpy. It has come to light that the actor makes tons of demands of his assistants. In fact, Myers reportedly made life a daily nightmare for the cast and crew of one of his biggest films. According to Amy Hill, who was his co-star in The Cat in the Hat, she said it was a horrible, nightmarish experience. Hill claimed that he selfishly kept everyone waiting for hours, overruled the director, and even had someone standing by just holding his personal chocolates in a dish. Quote, "It was so weird. It was just the worst. I was miserable." Another story involves a fan that offered to buy the actor a drink. After telling Myers how much he enjoyed his work, Myers allegedly just looked at him and said, "I can afford my own drinks," cursed at him and said, "Save your money for my next movie." Apart from being notoriously difficult to work with, his mean-spirited attitude towards regular people have shrunk his fan base down to a fraction of what it used to be. Number 5, Jamie Lynn Spears. People have started referring to Jamie Lynn as the Britney Spears from Wish, and it's easy to see why. They've labeled her as a knockoff to her pop star sister. Jamie Lynn started her career in film and television as a child, mostly playing the younger version of Britney's characters. But she didn't receive star status until landing the lead role as Zoe Brooks on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101. And even when she was cast by its creator Dan Schneider, it was all because she looked a lot like her older sister. The boarding school set dramedy was a smash hit and cemented a young Jamie Lynn's acting career. But little did fans know there was actually a scandal brewing behind the set, as its star was just 16 when she fell pregnant, which would have been a bombshell for the very PG show. In her memoir, Things I Should Have Said, Jamie Lynn says her family and management pulled her out of school until they could figure out what to do next. And after the 4th season of Zoe 101, the network cancelled the series. Since then, her acting career has been on hiatus, and although she briefly tried to break through as a country star, Jamie Lynn has not been successful at rehabilitating her career since. Number 4, Tara Reid. There's no doubt that the American Pie star was one of Hollywood's it girls in the late 90s and early 2000s. She was gorgeous and totally fit the funny, pretty girl archetype in movies. Tara achieved real fame by playing Vicky in the hugely popular American Pie series, and she was also in Cruel Intentions, Van Wilder, and Scrubs. However, at the time of her blow-up in Hollywood, she was seen partying more and more and became less credible. Eventually, the publicity of her clubbing lifestyle led to her show on E! Called Taradise, which ended up flopping and just made things a whole lot worse for her image. From that point on, Tara would unfortunately be in and out of rehab and had trouble maintaining sobriety. The actress was also going through various issues stemming from botched plastic surgery, claiming in 2004 that breast implants and liposuction surgeries left her with disfigurements that damaged her career. She told Us Weekly, "My stomach became the most ripply, bulgy thing. I had a hernia, this huge bump next to my belly button. As a result, I couldn't wear a bikini. I lost a lot of work." She did, however, manage to nab a role in the comedy disaster film franchise Sharknado, but unfortunately, that reoccurring role wasn't enough to reboot her career. Number 3, Katherine Heigl. Television medical drama Grey's Anatomy catapulted Katherine Heigl into the limelight. The thing is, she had a reputation of being extremely unpleasant to work with on set, and after trashing her most popular movie ever, she lost a whole bunch of fans. I'm talking talking about 2007's Knocked Up. It was not just hilarious but very well received all round, scoring an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and bringing in $219 million at the box office against a $25 million budget. But Katherine was less than thrilled about her participation in the movie and called the film sexist, telling Vanity Fair in 2008 that she thought the movie paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight, and it paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. She went on to say that she had a hard time with the film on some days because she said that her character was a B-word and a killjoy. Not only that, but Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a wince-inducing public statement that claims she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Number 2, Azealia Banks. With tongue-twisting lyricism, Azalea's debut single 212 is definitely one for the books. Pitchfork called it the 6th best song of the 2010s, and Billboard said it defined a decade. In fact, Rolling Stone placed it on the list of the 500 greatest songs ever made. The track was supposed to set her up for world domination, but these days it's hard to think of any artist that has been marred in such controversy as Azealia. Her social media presence has created scandal after scandal, and the list of people she has feuded with is so extensive that it has its own section on Wikipedia. Her celebrity beef is super random and impossible to keep track of. For instance, she went on a huge rant on her Instagram story last year, insulting Doja Cat's looks and her music, saying, "Doja makes music for 10-year-olds and is very derivative. Cute girl, but her attempts at witty East Coast Roman reloaded flows are pitiful and not in the least amusing. And yes, she looked terrible before she lost weight." And in 2018, she accused Elon Musk of investment fraud and called him a beta male who took steroids and got hair plugs to convince himself that he was an alpha. She still occasionally makes attempts to collaborate with other artists, but at this stage it would be difficult to find anyone that would still work with her. And coming in at number 1, Hayden Christensen. He was just 19 years old when he was cast as Anakin Skywalker, the man who would evolve into Darth Vader in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. It was set to be the role of a lifetime, and somehow, despite having limited leading man experience, Hayden was handpicked for the role out of a pool of more than 1,500 candidates. But unfortunately for the young actor, the prequels garnered overwhelmingly negative reviews from critics and fans alike. In reviews, his performance was referred to as unpolished, timid, and stiff, and many people just called him a straight-up bad actor. So instead of setting Hayden on a path for more high-profile film roles, the backlash that the prequels received led the Canadian actor to fade into obscurity. But it was also a choice that he made for himself at the time, telling the Los Angeles Times, "I guess I felt like I had this great thing in Star Wars that provided all these opportunities and gave me a career, but it all kind of felt a little too handed to me. I didn't want to go through life feeling like I was just riding a wave," which is actually quite sad when you think about it. But he does seem content now with less prominent roles and actually seems to prefer life outside of the spotlight.
In at number 10, Noah Cyrus. Noah is the younger sister of massive star Miley Cyrus, as well as the daughter of Billy Ray Cyrus. And of course, growing up in someone's shadow is never easy, and my heart goes out to her for that. But after years of trying to branch out into a successful solo career apart from her sister, it hasn't really been successful. And it might be time for her to realize that not many people know her apart from being Miley's younger sister. She talked about growing up in Miley's shadow in one interview, saying, quote, "Being born in the family I was in, everybody gave me such a hard time for having a hard time being Miley's little sister. But I always felt like I was the person that no one gave a about due to what people said about me online." And I know it can be really hard to be your own person when you have an ultra famous sibling. However, getting into music where Miley and her father had already been successful was probably not a great idea if she wanted to become recognizable in her own right. And at number 9, Jonathan Cheban. Jonathan Cheban is a publicist by trade, but is known for being a socialite and influencer who is BFF with the Kardashians. He makes regular appearances on the show and is a notable character at this point in the series. But other than being famous by association, he was never really famous for anything on his own merit. He recently decided to become food god and made his Instagram an eating blog, but he's had moderate success. But honestly, I will say that I do like him on the show, and he does add a bit of spice to the show, you know, every now and then when it needs it, especially in the Miami days. He was like the best when they were in Miami. I'll say that about him. And at number 8, Jessie J. Jessie J was huge in the 2010s, and her powerhouse vocals and songwriting abilities made her really successful in that time. She even collabed with Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj on the hit song Bang Bang. But over the years, each of her albums have gone on to sell less and less, and she's become less relevant in the industry. The only time that I really heard any news about her was when she started dating Channing Tatum. But since they decided to split in 2020, I really haven't heard much news about her since. And I don't think that she'll be making a comeback anytime soon. And at number 7, Ally and AJ. If any of you guys are around my age, then you definitely know who Ally and AJ are. I personally grew up with them on the Disney Channel, and I still know the words to some of their hit songs. The sisters actually had the most successful music career of any Disney star, and most impressively, they actually wrote all their own music too. Their biggest hit, Potential Breakup Song, was so huge that most of you probably know it. But sadly, after that massive hit, they decided to leave the Disney machine and was never able to reach the heights of their past success again. The girls struggled so much at one point, they rebranded themselves as 78 Violet. But they decided to come back recently as Ally and AJ again, and even released a Potential Breakup Song explicit version to try and recapture some of their old fan base. The girls are honestly making phenomenal music, and I wish them all the success in the world, but sadly, they just aren't that famous anymore. And at number 6, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tekashi 6ix9ine became a huge star overnight and leveraged his unique and frequently mocked look with bright hair and face tattoos to become a big name in rap. He also had commercial success too, with 3 of his singles hitting the Billboard Hot 100, and his music videos get ridiculous views. However, many have accused him of buying bots to get those views. But his fall has been just as fast as his rise, and after he was sent to prison for snitching, as well as being accused of sexual crimes, even his fans are a bit tired of him, and he seems to be fading into irrelevancy very fast. Halfway at number 5, Jason Derulo. Jason Derulo is interesting because he comes into mainstream attention every few years, but fades just as fast. Jason was one of the biggest stars of the 2000s, and I'm sure you all know his signature opening line, Jason Derulo. Sorry, you know I had to. But after his rise, he slowly started to fade, and I'm sure none of you have even thought about Jason Derulo since. However, he recently came back into mainstream attention with his focus on TikTok. He was really the first mainstream celebrity to adopt TikTok and use it to become relevant again. And it actually worked. His newest single, Savage Love, landed Derulo his first top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 since 2015. And Jason knows what he's doing. He said in one interview, quote, "It's important to reinvent yourself as much as possible. Otherwise, people just get tired of it. I've tried everything under the sun at least 3 times. And although I respect his hustle on TikTok, it seems like he's fighting for relevancy with teenage TikTok stars. And at number 4, Paris Hilton. So this one might be a bit controversial, but if it wasn't for her recent documentary that brought her back into mainstream attention, it would be hard to argue that she still has the pull that she once had. Paris is obviously an icon that started the influencer lifestyle back when she was starring in hit reality TV shows. So don't take this as me disrespecting her career. But as the years went on and regular people were becoming more sought after influencers than her, she changed directions, focusing more on business endeavors and DJing. When her documentary was released on YouTube in 2020, it got tons of attention as people were dying to see what she had hidden behind the curtains. But since the hype of the documentary has died down, so has the attention surrounding her, which is evident from the fact that her YouTube channel only has 1 million subscribers. And at number 3, Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez rose to mainstream attention because of his hit song, Say It, in 2015. And he became a household name after, but only had a number of hits since. And it seems that the only reason he's come back into the spotlight is because of the unfortunate incident that took place between him and Megan Thee Stallion in 2020, which we still don't know the full story about. And to me, it seems that unless Tory is found innocent, he's gonna fall back into obscurity as well as getting some jail time. And at number 2, Rita Ora. Honestly, I'm still not sure why Rita Ora was ever considered famous in the first place, but other than the fact that she paid a restaurant to have a COVID party recently, she's pretty irrelevant in the media and the music business. She was a success in the Europe/UK market many years ago, but it didn't really translate over to the US market. Her success at one point was so lukewarm that she was actually dropped by her label too. Ora refuses to bow out and is trying really hard to keep her career afloat, but other than having famous friends, she really doesn't have much on her resume. And finally, at number 1, the Olsen twins. The world best knows the Olsen twins from their child stardom days, and with the rise of their talented sister, Elizabeth Olsen, it's become clearer than ever that the Olsen twins are really not famous anymore. But the best part is, they don't really care, and considering the fact that the two have never had social media accounts and haven't dabbled in the entertainment industry since their child stardom, they have left the door wide open for their sister Elizabeth to come into the spotlight. I think if anything, the media needs to realize the Olsen twins aren't famous anymore so that Elizabeth doesn't have to answer any more questions about being related to them. And at number 10 is Kevin Jonas. Any member of the Jonas Brothers will always be a big deal, especially for girls like me that grew up with them. But for Kevin, it's sad to say he was kind of the odd one out in terms of the group. Kevin was the first of his brothers to get married, have kids, and settle down out of the spotlight, with rumors circulating that he was the one that pushed for the band to split up in 2013. But right after the split, him and his new wife Danielle decided to try the reality TV route, and they started a show, Married to Jonas, which only lasted 2 seasons. After his failed stint on his own, his family moved back to suburbia, and he started a contracting business in New Jersey. But with a name like Jonas, you can never be out of the spotlight for too long. So him and his wife still appear at charity events and pose for promotional materials. However, the band came back in 2018, and although they had tons of excitement in the beginning, it seems to have worn off, and all the brothers are just settling down now. And honestly, at this point, I don't even think Kevin really wants fame anymore, so I mean, good for him for getting out of that then. In at number 9, Cody Simpson. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the last time I cared at all about Cody Simpson was right after I learned that he was dating Miley Cyrus. But when they broke up, I went right back into not caring. In 2010, Cody was on fire, and he was basically the Walmart Justin Bieber, but still very, very successful. But after he abruptly left his record label, he started touring with an old school rock band, enrolled at UCLA Film School, and started modeling too. But at about this time, he started to go into relative obscurity, and everyone just kind of started to forget about him. That is until Miley Cyrus rebounded with Cody and made him relevant again for the about a year or so that they were dating. Since 2019, he's released tons of music, so maybe his comeback will be happening any day now. And at number 7, Frankie J. Grande. I kind of feel bad for Frankie because after all, he's living in the gigantic shadow of his younger sister, Ariana Grande. But it seems that being Ariana's brother has kind of become like his shtick to get into the limelight. But unlike his sister, Frankie hasn't really had much success with his ventures. And because of this, he takes practically any opportunity that's handed to him. And he's been on reality TV probably more than anyone in history. He's also well known for being one of the most hated people from Big Brother, using his relation to Ariana to stay in the house. And it's a tough spot. Like, I get he can't just do a normal job because that could put him in danger and really just not be a good look for the family in some ways. But he doesn't have much going for him other than, you know, that familial connection. So I'm hoping he gets picked up for something good soon. And at number 8, Nicole Scherzinger. Nicole Scherzinger was the breakout star from the girl group, the Pussycat Dolls. And we found out later that she was the star because she was the only one in the group that actually sang anything. Yeah, like that's true. I didn't realize that. Like, if you look in the credits, like it's literally her doing the main and the background vocals. Crazy. But after the group fell apart, she did her best to go solo, but her solo albums were not as successful as she'd hoped. After a lull in the biz, she became a judge on the X Factor UK, but allegedly she was fired in 2017. But she did have success as Grisabella in Cats on Broadway, but was disappointed when she wasn't considered for the movie remake. Although now I'm sure she was glad she wasn't included in that, you know, disaster. Now she holds a guest spot on the Sidemen's YouTube original series, The Sidemen Show, and she appeared in a David Dobrik vlog, which is, you know, quite a step down from where she once was. Of course, being in a David Dobrik vlog is iconic and amazing, but you know, little lower than what she was before. And at number 6, Bow Wow. Bow Wow made a name for himself back when he was much younger and referred to himself as Lil Bow Wow. But now that he's older and losing relevancy fast, he's resorted to lying to look cool. And he's definitely posted some social media mistakes over the years. One was when he edited a photo of the original Death Row Records lineup from 1996 and included his face in it, which people called out for being photoshopped. Then he tried to brag about the fact that he was on a private jet, but his followers called that out for being fake too. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of people calling him out for fake stuff. And since his last acting and music successes were well over a decade ago, he's scraping the barrel to see what people will still watch. But it seems that Bow Wow is well aware of his sliding success, and even tweeted and then deleted, quote, "I'ma quit all this and downsize my home, sell everything, and go to work at GameStop," back in 2018. Since then, it looks like he's taken to YouTube and is having pretty decent success, so I guess we'll see if it sticks. Halfway number 5, Ray J. I don't know about you guys, but when I hear the name Ray J, the only thing I think of is Kim Kardashian. And I feel like a lot of people think the same way. And I think it's safe to say the only reason Ray J is relevant in the slightest is because of their tape. And after the tape, Kim K and her family have gone on to become some of the most famous people in the world, while Ray J went into obscurity. Ray J was in the Sharknado franchise, which isn't all that impressive, and his music was somewhat successful. And it seems the only way he gets back into the headlines is by bringing up Kim's name. And the last time he had any sort of relevancy, he was on Celebrity Big Brother talking about how Kim cheated on him. So I don't know, I think he maybe just needs to get out of the spotlight for his own good. In at number 4, Heidi Montag. Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag got their stardom from The Hills, and even though they dished out their dirty laundry for a paycheck, they don't regret it. The couple then went through tons of ventures to make some money off their name and fame, like writing a book and being in any reality TV show possible. Even though the couple admitted they squandered their money as fast as they get it. In 2018, MTV rebooted The Hills, and the couple felt like this was gonna be their ultimate comeback. But like with most reboots, the hype quickly faded and the show was a flop. In at number 3, Angus T. Jones. Angus T. Jones was a child star that grew into adulthood while he was shooting the hit show 2.5 Men. But when he started to get older, he started to get major angst for showbiz and turned against his career. He even went so far to tell people to not watch his show or TV in general, which, you know, isn't a smart thing for an actor to do. Jones ended up quitting the hit show in 2013 to attend college, but only a few days later he wanted back in on the action once he was asked to make a cameo in the 2.5 Men finale. He worked at an events company for some time, then got cast in a web show, and his horizons really don't look so great now. In at number 2, Brenda Song. I will never not see Brenda Song as London Tipton because that show was just too big of a part of my life for me to ever think of any of the characters as anything different. And of course, being in any Disney project like that is gonna catapult you to fame, which is exactly what it did for Brenda. But after the show ended, the acting roles didn't really come as often for her, and the only notable role she was in was a small part in The Social Network, which, fun fact, is one of my favorite movies of all time. She also is known for dating some interesting men, going from Miley Cyrus's brother Trace to Macaulay Culkin. And even though Culkin is a massive star that will always be a notable Hollywood name, especially around Christmas, it really hasn't helped bolster her fame much. And finally, at number 1, Rita Ora. Rita Ora was once named the most irrelevant pop star of all time. Well, in one article she was. She's kind of a funny person in the sense that she's famous and the Daily Mail writes about her all the time, but no one really knows why she's famous. A lot of people think she was a pop star, but she really wasn't, and she hasn't even released all that much music. And how she landed her spot on the X Factor, no one will really ever know. And she also manages to get invited to very high-class events, like award shows and even the Met Gala. The most notable thing she's done outside of her lackluster music is acting in the 50 Shades franchise and appearing on America's Next Top Model. I guess only time will tell where her career takes her next.
Coming at number 10, we have Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle has only had one goal in her life, and that is to be famous. While the star was on a good start to reach her goals thanks to her role in the show Suits, it was clear she didn't have the patience to see where her career would take her, and she was looking for an easier way to make it into the spotlight. When Meghan started to date Prince Harry, her dreams to become a household name became true, and her name started to flood the internet. In the beginning, everyone loved her, but as time went on, the staff members of the royal family started to claim that Meghan was very rude to them. The headlines then started to change, and a long list of people would claim that Meghan wasn't exactly the person she was painted to be. Today, Meghan can't seem to escape the intense public backlash towards her every move. As well as the frosty reception she has also received from inside the royal family. Even after Meghan and Harry left the royal family to escape the public eye, she still tries to remain relevant by exposing the royal family. But everyone has had enough with her constant lies, and while she begs for privacy, she really just airs out all of her dirty laundry, which is just the confusing part. Number 9, Madonna. Madonna's rise to fame was definitely no joke in the 80s, as the girl was on something, and because of her success, she was able to hold the title Queen of Pop for decades. Despite her single Living for Love being pulled from Radio 1, her other hit songs like Vogue and
Like a Virgin are still used in throwback playlists today. However, her career has been filled with controversy that just has many people wishing that she would leave the spotlight behind. Like the time she decided to flash her butt at the 2015 Grammy Awards. When Madonna thought it was a super trendy moment, fans started to call the star out for being a little behind on all the newest trends. Not only has Madonna tried to copy every move every younger pop star is doing to stay relevant, her tone-deaf tweets have also started to sink her stardom. Not to mention, anytime she performs with other celebrities, all she wants to do is make out with them. And she's tried so hard to stay young so she can relate to her younger fans, to the point all her plastic surgery procedures have fans pointing out that the old Madonna used to be beautiful and the new one has a similar resemblance to a boiled egg. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, Chris Brown. Where do I even start when it comes to Chris Brown? Because it's a long list. Well, according to many people, Chris Brown was once widely considered both one of the most influential and successful R&B singers in history, which allowed the star to be dubbed as the king of R&B. Sure, his music is fire, I'll give him that, but once news broke out that Chris Brown got into a pretty heated altercation with his then partner Rihanna and messed up her face, his beats suddenly lost their sparkle because the world just couldn't condone violence. Somehow though, Chris still had the confidence to believe that this very incident wouldn't affect his popularity, which was honestly priceless. During an interview with Larry King back in 2009, Chris would even compare his relationship with Rihanna to William Shakespeare's tragedy Romeo and Juliet, when he said it was sort of like Romeo and Juliet story, like both sides not wanting us to kind of have contact, so we just got away. Or jump to today, the guy got mad because he lost a Grammy to someone he didn't even know. But realistically, no one even knew he dropped new music, and the Grammys just gave him a nomination because they felt bad about his non-existent career and didn't want to deal with the repercussions of not giving him a nomination. Number 7, Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea is a couple hit wonder Australian rapper and songwriter who peaked in early 2010 with catchy songs and flashy music videos. After the star pretty much went viral for her song Work, we all wanted to walk a mile in Louboutins, stick our 2 feet in red dirt while wearing school skirts. And don't even get me started on those sick Adidas pants in the music video, because I'm still hoping I stumble upon a pair in a thrift store. While it appeared that Iggy would follow the same path to stardom as fellow rapper Nicki Minaj, Iggy really just ended up dropping off the radar before she actually even truly made it. Iggy would then find herself being a victim of constant scrutiny for her subpar, on-the-spot rapping skills and accusations of cultural appropriation. Then after she released her debut album in 2014, she disappeared, and when she returned with In My Defense in 2019, no one even seemed to notice. In 2020, T.I. would even admit signing Iggy was his biggest mistake when he took to Twitter to say, "I'm still actively looking for another female rapper who can undo the blunder of Iggy Azalea. That is the tarnish of my legacy as far as being a music executive is concerned. To me, this is like when Michael Jordan went to play basketball." Number 6, Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray Cyrus can owe a lot of his fame to his chart-topping debut song Achy Breaky Heart, which was a hit of the 90s after it became one of the most distinctive songs. And if it wasn't for his collaboration with his daughter Miley Cyrus on Disney's 4-season series Hannah Montana that introduced him to a younger generation, his music career probably wouldn't have extended into late 2000. Unfortunately, Miley's post-Disney antics distracted viewers from her father, and his attempt to reclaim the spotlight occurred again when he did a collaboration with Lil Nas X on the 2019 phenomenon Old Town Road, which was cool, and it could have revamped his career if it wasn't overplayed on every single radio station every 5 minutes. Even today, he seemed to have gotten on his younger fans' bad side again after it was released that he was fighting with Miley after he started dating Fire Rose, who was actually one of the young girls Miley worked with on the set of Hannah Montana. Number 5, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's 1990 self-titled album granted her a quick access to Hollywood's A-list, and since her release of her hit holiday song All I Want for Christmas, when it plays on repeat every December, it either makes you love the holiday season or hate it. When Mariah first first hit the entertainment scene, her performances and self-prescribed diva status were remarkable during this pop star era because all the celebrities were doing it. However, over time it just became boring, and today it's just plain tacky. Back in 2016, when Mariah tried to come back, she would then be caught lip-syncing at a New Year's Eve event, and the stunt then went on to secure her place as the first meme of 2017. Essentially then, her fans went on to scrutinize her vocals rather than praise her performance, as just before, she thought it was appropriate to insult Nicki Minaj's voice in a feud during American Idol, but then didn't even sing her own song. Today, Mariah has even tried to stay relevant by teaming up with younger stars such as Justin Bieber. I think it's safe to say that she should just leave the spotlight alone at this point. Number 4, Macklemore. While at one point Macklemore only had $20 in his pocket, today he has more than $20 after his global success of his song Thrift Shop went viral and made Macklemore's overall net worth about $25 million. However, it seems like many stars who make it into the industry, he was only able to become a one-hit wonder as he slowly disappeared from the scene after his song Thrift Shop hit the Billboard. However, that hasn't stopped him from trying to dominate the scene since. In 2013, Macklemore would release a follow-up hit, Can't Hold Us, featuring Ryan Lewis, but he hasn't been able to top his original album since. Maybe that's because all of the songs he has released haven't really lived up to the song we all loved, Thrift Shop. Once his collaboration with Lewis suddenly came to an end in 2017, sadly, so did his relevance. And at this point, he really should have just stuck to poppin' tags instead of making a futile comeback. But who knows, maybe in the future we can get another Thrift Shop song and we'll be able to pop some tags in the thrift store again with Macklemore. Number 3, John Travolta. At one point in time, John Travolta was a movie, musical, and blockbuster legend who captured the hearts of American audiences. Being a triple threat actor, as the man can clearly act, sing, and dance, it's clear that he has multiple talents, as he's even been seen piloting his own personal aircraft. However, unfortunately for the brilliant Pulp Fiction star, a clear beginning of his descent from the industry started to occur after he introduced Idina Menzel as Adele Dazeema at the 2014 Oscars. While getting names wrong isn't an uncommon thing, hey, we all do it. When John made a move to weirdly grasp Idina's chin in an apology at the next Oscar ceremony, or when the actor was also caught creepily photobombing an unamused Scarlett Johansson, which has caused his fans to recover from the Travolta fever they all were experiencing since they were all swooned from his role in the hit musical Grease. Number 2, Paris Hilton. Even to this day, Paris Hilton is only known because she is the face of famous for being famous. Being an heiress to Hilton hotels and an unintentional star of an X-rated film, One Night in Paris, her largest claim to fame emerged in the reality series The Simple Life, but it seems like after Kim Kardashian surpassed her after she went from being her assistant to one of the most famous people in Hollywood, Paris's rise to fame halted and her popularity has sort of fizzled out. Ironically, Paris has lived everything but a simple life since her birth, and she definitely didn't think her prevalence as a socialite would be quickly overtaken by the Kardashian-Jenner clan, and she really did underestimate Kris Jenner's power. For a while, Paris only had Yeezy's partnership to share a sliver of their spotlight, but now that Adidas has dropped out from their brand deal with Kanye to keep her image alive, Paris is just doing some really cringy commercials for Hilton hotels. And coming in number 1 today, we have Lynn Spears. It's clear that Britney Spears has her own issues to work out in regards to realizing where her fame has left her. However, Lynn Spears is truly the worst offender. It's clear that Britney was the one who actually achieved fame in the first place, and then Lynn did what the rest of her family did and they lived off of Britney's success. Yes, eventually Lynn did find success in Zooey 101, and she did have various record deals, but I dare you to go back and watch some of those Zooey 101 episodes now, and the acting is actually pretty bad to the point you wonder why we even liked the show so much as kids. Now that the world has realized how much Britney Spears' family wronged her during the last few decades, and the fact that one of Lynn's co-stars even called her out for bullying her on the set of Zooey 101, Lynn has landed back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. While it seems like Lynn even hopes to capitalize off of some of her sister's trauma using a book to earn the favor of the masses, once more again, It seems like her fame is long gone, and I guess I'm the one who has to tell her that. However, it seems like 15 years after Zoey 101 ended, the cast is returning for a movie, but Nickelodeon should just honestly redo the whole show completely with a new cast or replace Jamie Lynn as Zoey, as her behavior to set members and her sister aren't good qualities for a good role model. And let's face it, the only reason the show was cancelled in the first place was because producers thought she couldn't be a good role model because she got pregnant at a young age. Coming at number 10 today, we have Jake and Logan Paul. It just seems like everything Jake and Logan Paul do lately is highly controversial, and it makes you wonder why the brothers even rose to fame in the beginning, and how they were even able to stay on top despite all the negative things they seem to do. Sure, both brothers are extremely good looking, but do good looks just give you a free pass in the industry to get away with dumb behavior? Both brothers rose to fame after they started out on Vine by sharing prank videos that amassed millions of views. After the video sharing app shut down in 2016, they would take their talents to YouTube and Instagram, and they would continue to gain millions of fans. And since their rise to fame, multiple controversies and legal issues have followed them. Despite their controversial lifestyle, the brothers have somehow managed to grow their fame through acting and boxing, making them more than just internet sensations. The Paul brothers' seemingly endless controversies over the years have been polarizing to watch, with Jake facing multiple lawsuits, essay allegations, and have been accused of terrorizing his neighbors. He even lost his gig on the Disney Channel show, Bizarre Bark. Yet it seems like even with scandals and allegations, the brothers have been able to continue on because their fans still remain unfazed by their actions, which is pretty disturbing. Number 9, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is blowing up online due to his controversial opinions on being a man and making money, and it's creating headlines across the web. While he's often endorsed a misogynistic culture, he has also admitted to scamming guys on the internet. When he is not creating harmful content on social media, he is frequently seen flaunting his yachts, Bugattis, and wealth. And by now you're probably wishing that this guy never even rose to fame. With Andrew preaching about how women belong to men and men can do anything they want to them, shows that Andrew has zero respect for women. And his recent arrest in Romania shows that this guy is garbage, and he's just as garbage as we all believed him to be. Andrew's viewers tend to be misogynistic men like him, as well as naive adolescent boys who just can't get girls to like them. With his content being dangerous to view, these younger individuals have come so heavily influenced by Tate that they have even adopted this misogynistic and racist view that he's expressed on all of his platforms. Examples include how Tate uses racial slurs in his tweets and has degraded women on his podcast for having no innate responsibility or honor. Like, I don't know why the world has a tendency of making such garbage people famous, but out of all the people, why do men love this guy so much? Like, there's nothing impressive. Like, he's even too scared to get into a ring with Logan Paul because he knows he'll lose. While his presence on social media has started to diminish, it's clear people like Tate don't deserve fame or money, and they're not worth the spotlight at all. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Chris Brown. At one point, Chris Brown represented the future of pop and R&B music. With his Michael Jackson-like dance moves, cute boyish looks, and songs about chasing girls in school, now he's all grown up, tatted, and sings about wetting the bed and making headlines. The trending topic on Twitter, and it seems like every week is just a different topic. So why has Chris Brown become a celebrity that everyone loves, but at the same time loves to hate? Over the years, Chris has had beef with multiple celebrities, and each time there is beef, Chris always seems to be in the wrong, as he always takes things way too far. While he was an extremely talented artist, I can only imagine the amount of pressure one must have when living under a microscope. Everything you do or say judged by millions of people. But even with saying that, even being stressed from your job can't justify your actions. And honestly, it just baffles me why people even choose to support him after he has a long history of being violent with women. So why are we supporting him? Number 7, James Corden. James Corden is only popular for his role as a late-night talk show host. But even though everyone knows who he isn't exactly everyone's favorite cup of tea. And a lot of people have actually expressed their dislike towards him. While James has gone on to become one of the most popular talk show hosts in recent years, his popularity hasn't always come with the audience's full approval. While his work in movies such as Into the Woods, Cats, and Trolls could easily make him a beloved figure in the entertainment industry, he has been deemed as being annoying and has earned the dislike of the audience over the years over various reasons. While the reason so many people dislike James Corden has been fueled by different events, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes, it's clear that he shouldn't be famous, and none of us should buy into his nice guy image. And on more than one occasion, he's actually been caught being rude and fake in interviews and in his shows when talking to his guests. James is known to interrupt or talk over people, and he has the constant need to sing over his guests in his fan favorite segment, Carpool Karaoke. Also, let's not forget how he's rude to servers at restaurants. To me, it seems like James has never worked a customer service job, and that's why he has zero respect for people. Number 6, the Kardashians. For years, the Kardashian family has often been criticized for being famous for doing nothing. Thanks to Kris Jenner, nobody would probably know their names if she didn't leak a certain tape of her eldest daughter, Kim Kardashian. While her family may now be millionaires and billionaires thanks to their many companies within the clothing and beauty industry, they still try to claim that they work hard to be where they are today. However, if it wasn't for their insane drama and big peaches, we probably wouldn't even know their names, let's face it. Kris Jenner was smart and she used this to her advantage, and with her power, she was able to make her family the most famous family in Hollywood. Like, everyone knows that if you want to go anywhere at this point, you have to get in with the Kardashian family, as once you befriend the whole family, a lot of doors open up and it will help you get to where you need to go. Just look at Blac Chyna and Tyga. No one really knew who they were, and now they're pretty much household names. However, outside all the drama with this family, what are they actually famous for? So Kendall is a model. But what does the rest of the family do other than complain about the reason that people aren't making it into the industry is because they aren't waking up every day to work their hardest. It seems like today, they're only in the spotlight for their toxic image that they impose on weight loss, and how being skinny is the only thing you can do to be pretty. Number 5, Addison Rae. So something's really been bothering me since the release of TikToker Addison Rae's He's All That movie. Like, if entering into 2023, we could just not cast TikTok stars in shows and movies, it would be great, because it's clear fame doesn't correlate with talent. It seems like TikTokers who become famous often branch out exploring other talents, such as those in the music or movie industry. And every time I have to listen to a song or watch the movie, I have to think, who thought this was a good idea? Now mind you, some have actually been able to cross the platform and make it into other industries such as Bella Poarch, but it seems like for some, they think they can just hide behind their smiles to distract us away from their poor acting. Cough cough, Addison Rae. Addison's acting and He's All That was notorious at its best, as the acting was pretty much comparable to the kids on the Disney Channel. If the movie actually starred a trained actress, it probably could have lived up to its hit 1999 predecessor, She's All That. Since influencers are already in the position of power and money, opportunities are often just handed to them. And many don't have to work to achieve their goals, which bothers me the most. Those in the acting industry have paid thousands of dollars to attend classes to make names for themselves. And that's why influencers on TikTok shouldn't have the ability to become actors instantly without any preparation just because they're famous figures. Number 4, Elon Musk. The overwhelming news flow that comes along with Elon Musk and his company just makes all of our heads hurt. And it's actually, to be honest, pretty weird to watch a bunch of famous people scream at each other over Twitter constantly. While they are always trying to do some righteous combat online, I honestly just want to take out my phone and look at pictures of my cat while it all unfolds. Now, there are essentially 2 distinct narratives when it comes to Elon, and they are, in their simplest terms, 1, Elon is a hero, and 2, Elon is a villain. But if I had a third option, Honestly, it would be who cares, and why are we even talking about this guy as he's just a normal guy with an unusual amount of money. To support any of his moves, you practically choose to emphasize certain facts and de-emphasize others, and you literally accuse everyone that writes about Musk in a big picture way of cherry picking. While his narrative has definitely been divided between genius and villain, it becomes so large that trying to just get back up to speed on all of his drama just makes me not want to come into work and read about it. Like, I get it. The dude is filthy rich and he's highly controversial as he tries to make the world a dangerous place while implementing free speech. But do we have to make all rich people famous? Because Elon is just someone I would like to forget about at this point. Number 3, the royal family. While the Queen was pretty popular, there have been a series of public relation disasters that have tarnished the rest of the royal family. And while Charles has taken over the throne, it makes us wonder if the UK will soon abolish the monarchy. Now, the institution itself continues to enjoy broad support, and with the UK under unprecedented strain from the Scottish separatism, proves that it may be hard for any future monarch to be able to provide the same steady influence as Queen Elizabeth did. While many controversies never touch the Queen, it's bound to make things even more difficult for Charles, who has been subjected to intense scrutiny. Especially since people still believe that the royal family had something to do with the passing of Princess Diana. The whole family is just a giant symbol of what's wrong with the world, and it makes me question, why do we even still have a monarchy at this point? Like, what are they truly doing that the world leaders aren't currently doing? Like, let's be real here. Charles is going to have to find someone to help him fill in Elizabeth's shoes, as it's definitely going to take 2 men to do her job. As we're not just questioning the monarchy at this point, but the country that produced it. Like, we're honestly not in the medieval times anymore, and we need to step away from the whole one family rules the world type of thing. Number 2, James Charles. There's something about James Charles still being famous after trying to talk to younger boys that just doesn't sit right with me. Or can we also bring up the fact that he hangs out with younger kids that became famous on TikTok? Something about that just gives me the ick. At this point, it only seems like he's famous because he's influenced by fame, power, and a fat bank account. But his actions just prove that he's a bad role model, and there's something that's just really sus about him. Even while he has become one of the most hated influencers around the controversial situations he's found himself in, it seems like fans still believe he wasn't completely in the wrong for any of them. A majority of people just didn't care to follow the drama surrounding the beauty community because they found it just cringy. Like, he's clearly a terrible person, there's no denying that, but at this point, he's just famous for being famous, and it's kind of really hard to see why he's still on the top when he's not even talented nor charismatic. Number 1, Dr. Phil. Okay, I honestly hate cancel culture, but if there's one person that needs to be canceled, it's Dr. Phil. How this man still has a show is beyond me. Dr. Phil has pretty much become a controversial figure since he became one of the highest paid celebrities in Hollywood. With him having some flamboyant cases of people with problems, he has somehow managed to build an audience who will boo and make fun of his guests rather than call him out on his outrageous behavior. While he claims to give some free treatment, there have been claims of abuse at a ranch-type facility treatment that he sends minors to. A young woman claims that she was not even allowed to call home, and even Bad Baby has confirmed that she witnessed some heartbreaking things go down on the ranch, and called Dr. Phil out on it. What's even more concerning is that Dr. Phil doesn't even have a license to practice any of this in any state. Although he does have the proper education, credentials, he has often stated that he doesn't like one-on-one therapy, but he'll do it just to humiliate you in front of an audience. There's something about messing with someone's mental health publicly, let alone behind closed doors, that bothers me, and it's kind of outrageous that people think it's okay when he does it.